also put the event in context. Please put your hands together for Mr. Andrew Akoto. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bernard. And I see that you wanted a lot of energy going in the room right from the start. And if I look at the backdrop and the smile of the lady that is glancing at us, I don't think we need any more motivation to be very, very expectant and hopeful for a very, very enjoyable discussion this morning. Let me first of all start by thanking all of you for joining us. Special welcome to the representative of the Minister of Finance. We have the Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Mr. Anthony Sapon. You're welcome. We have the UNDP Country Rep, Mr. Niloy Banerjee. Representatives from ministries, departments, and agencies of government, CEOs and business leaders, invited guests, friends for the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this year's KPMG-UNDP Post-Budget Forum, where we discuss how government's 2026 budget statement and economic policy will address the pressing economic challenges that impact businesses, communities, and the nation at large. As partners in Ghana's development, KPMG undertakes an annual pre-budget survey. The objective of this survey is to engage businesses across various sectors to assess how economic policies affect their operations and gather their perspectives on their expectations of government's fiscal priorities for the new budget. Our aim is to provide evidence-based insights that help align national policy with private sector needs and long-term development goals. Over the years, we have consistently shared the results of this survey with the Ministry of Finance as our own token contribution to policy discussions that shape Ghana's business environment. The 5 key priorities from this year's pre-budget survey were the usual suspects: affordable finance, energy supply, consistent, tax reforms, workforce skill development, and of course, matters to do with sustainability and green tax incentives. It is gratifying to see that these priorities areas that were identified have mostly been incorporated into the 2026 budget presentation, demonstrating the relevance of our insights into shaping the national discourse. On Thursday, 13th November, the Minister of Finance presented the 2026 budget themed Resetting for Growth, Jobs, and Economic Transformation, which prioritizes macroeconomic stability, economic transformation, and job creation, security and social protection as the anchors on which growth will be unlocked in 2026. Our discussions today will delve into how the 2026 national budget can translate policies into actionable results by supporting infrastructure development, strengthening small, medium-sized enterprises, fostering industrialization, and enhancing workforce readiness through technical and vocational training. I call on all participants here present, as well as online, to engage constructively by actively participating, challenging ideas, proposing solutions, and collaborating to support long-term economic growth to improve the well-being of Ghanaians and businesses. That is at the heart of the matter, the execution of the budget. So let me end once again by thanking all of you for your commitment to this process and your continued partnership with KPMG. Good morning.
Wow. I think that was such a great foundation. Let's applaud Mr. Akoto one more time. Thank you very much indeed. So this is the KPMG Post-Budget Forum in association with, I think that's the word to use, the UNDP. When I saw this man's name, my heart skipped a beat, because when I was studying economics at the university, there was a textbook with your surname, which was terrified us. I think the guy was called Abhijit Banerjee. Yeah. But you are not that guy. Are you related to him? He's your cousin, my God. No. There's another one called Domoda Gujarati, Econometrics. Terrible. It was a good book. It just terrorized you whilst you were learning it. So our resident rep for UNDP is Niloy Banerjee. Not to be confused with the economist, but I'm sure he's done some economics in his life. Let's welcome him to bring us some remarks from the UNDP perspective. Thank you.
Nice to be called out for a Nobel Prize-winning economist. So you'll hear brilliant ideas today. Don't forget to clap for me as well. Good morning. Good morning, colleagues. Very nice to be here. I see our friends from KPMG, Andy and others. I see 24-hour economy-ish. Look up from your cell phone, please. Ghana Revenue Authority just stepped out, but all old partners, and great to be in this space, collaborating with you. And looking at what is close to the heart of UNDP. The survey throws up really, for us, 2 points very, very urgently. One is the cost of capital in the country. Ghana's unemployment rate still remains pretty high. And if you look at the age group of 15 to 24, it's extremely high. It's well in the 30s, 35% or so unemployed. Which means, colleagues, there will not be enough jobs, as informal jobs, for many people who are just coming of age now. So developing enterprise, getting small and medium enterprises going, making people job creators rather than job seekers is going to be prime. It's going to be Africa's challenge of this century, but it's certainly going to be a challenge in Ghana. I've come to know and love this country for 1 year now, so it's something I'm deeply conscious about. And the second issue is, if we do crowd in private sector financing, whether it's to SMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises, or the formal private sector, anyone who starts business here, the cost of starting business is extremely high. The cheapest SME loan is 17% rate of interest. So, colleagues, if we can really get the budget, which is our principal policy instrument, to work for making the cost of doing business lower. Otherwise, we will not have enough jobs for our young people. And that's absolutely critical to UNDP. If you read the survey, you'll see that SDG 8, which is jobs and economic opportunities, it comes up as one of the leading areas. Also comes up health and education as the other leading areas, SDG 3 and SDG 4. But for us, nothing is more important than crowding in private sector capital. And I implore the government to please de-risk initial investment. So the government can come in and bear first loss for startups. If this can be done, we will have a thriving culture of startups. I was just telling Andy, my last posting was Malaysia, which is a very similar economy, very similar economic structure, but with 7 times the per capita income. That's my seat. Just kidding, just kidding. I have been unseated before. Oh, no. I have been unseated before. So colleagues, I won't take much more of your time. It's just I have 5 minutes to speak, and we in India love to speak on and on and on. So just to say that let's try and de-risk capital. Let's make the cost of doing business lower. And thank you for supporting the SDGs, and a huge thank you to KPMG for being our fellow traveler on this. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I'm not sure which title you prefer, resident rep for UNDP or cousin of a Nobel Prize winning economist. Which one is easier to use? And by the way, that MIT economist did some really good work on poverty. And those of you interested in poverty reduction, you need to read him because he has a lot of practical ideas on reducing global poverty. And I guess you are on that line as well. So thank you so much, resident rep. We're going to have 2 key speeches. Now, this program is divided into 3. We have a few speeches to lay the foundation, and then we'll give you 6 slides. Those 6 slides essentially cover the key aspects of the KPMG pre-budget work, and then 4 highlights of the main budget, all in 6 slides. And then we're going to bring up a panel. We've tried to mix the panel up nicely with different sectors. AGI is on the panel, a macroeconomist is on the panel, and then we also have a couple of people from within the tax side of things. A KPMG rep is on the panel as well, Ministry of Finance on the panel, and a development practitioner from UNDP, trying to mix it up nicely. And we've also created about 5 themes around the panel discussion, and we'll explain that to you as the program proceeds. We'd like to make it interactive, so as we go through the discussion, we would be coming to you as well for interjections or comments. We are privileged to have a very rich mix of people. When I have the full list, I'll introduce them so you know who we have here. But I'd like to proceed now to invite the representative of the Minister of Finance, and he's in the person of Sam Ackhurst. For many, many years, he was head of macroeconomics at the ministry. I don't know if your role has changed. Forgive me if it has. But he definitely works at the Ministry of Finance, and his name is Sam Ackhurst. So please put your hands together for me, for Sam, as he comes to, in his own capacity, and also read the minister's comments. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Please don't mind the laptop. I'm used to carrying it to give me confidence. So let me start a bit with the courtesies. I know we have the country manager for KPMG. We just heard a speech from the resident rep from the United Nations Development Program. We have the IMF rep here, the acting commissioner for GRA. I have my colleagues also here from the Ministry of Finance. I know by now you know that I'm from Ministry of Finance. And then we also have the esteemed panelists. I hear members of the media. And ladies and gentlemen, I extend the heartfelt apologies from Dr. Kesiel Atuforsen, the Honorable Minister for Finance and the Acting Minister for Defense. I'm sure by this introduction alone, you know how busy he is at this time, and he had to be engaged in another pressing national assignment. So I have the honor, the singular honor, to deliver this keynote address on his behalf. I would also like to take opportunity to thank the KPMG for this annual culture. It's not been the first time that we have been here, and you've been keeping it going on and on. And as Bernard mentioned, this is the first of the 2026. So this is a very critical position for us. But as I look on the screen, you see that the title here is Post-Budget Forum, but couldn't help to reflect on some of the historical dimensions of the annual budget statement itself. Way back from Ghana's independence to the 80s, the title was the budget statement, just like how it's been put there as Post-Budget Forum. But in 1986, That's about 40 years ago. So it's insightful to notice that it was changed to budget statement and economic policy. And the reason is not far-fetched. For those who were alive and remember then, as part of the economic recovery program and structural adjustment program, what many people did not know was that the focus of the budget changed from mere statistics, adding revenue and expenditure. In fact, at the time, expenditure was first, because the budget was more of spending, and revenue was second, and the deficit, etc., were residual. But we changed the name 40 years ago, and we are celebrating that, and it's important we reflect on some of these dimensions to date. Now, in all the others, they were all enshrined in the Constitution, the first Republican, second, and the third. But with what we have here, it's enshrined in Article 179 and Section 21 of the PFM law. Now, that provides the context for why the finance minister presented the budget. But at the same time, it is important to reflect on the theme, which you see also right below there. So I'm focusing on what is on the screen. And the title is Resetting for Growth, Jobs, and Economic Transformation. And as you can see, it is showing 3 pillars. This triad of critical pillars are the growth, the jobs, and economic transformation. Before the panelists come, I would like to bring this down a bit in terms of its explanations. The growth component, if anybody here wants to understand the health of an economy in a single word, the GDP becomes the natural variable. But I can see there are many academics here. It's always a questionable position because I see UNDP here mentioning social development, poverty, etc., because it has its flaws as far as poverty is concerned. And I think we've been hearing in the media space how the GDP is not addressing issues of poverty. But there are reasons for that. For the first time, you see the Ghana Statistical Service has presented monthly proxies of GDP. We had always had annual, we went to quarter and monthly for a reason. It's not easy to calculate those figures on a high-frequency basis. Now, similar with poverty indicators, unless you do a census or survey, which cannot be done every year, you will not naturally have those figures. So if you don't see it in the budget, it's not because you don't prioritize it, but it's because the allocation of the resources, which is a key part of the budget, is engineered towards those poverty angles. So today, one of the major things I want to leave you with is that GDP growth still reigns supreme, and it's not surprising, it's the first angle of the theme. Now, going on to jobs, again, linking to the poverty side, GDP, without it affecting the people, is meaningless. And here, we are guided by the same constitution, Article 36, where you have economic objectives. And it even adds happiness of the people as an economic objective. But having a job, taking care of your families, are key indicators of happiness. So we're happy to also see that on the second angle, you have the jobs as a key part of the theme. Then lastly, you have the economic transformation. Now here, it's a means to an end and also an end on itself. So when you pick the budget, you see key angles of the pathway, like for example, the big push infrastructure project. My colleague director of budget is here. In budgeting parlance, they call those kind of projects as mega projects. There are many micro projects, but these are mega projects in that kind of language. They are catalytic because they lead up to economic transformation. And you also would see the construction of a 1,200 megawatt power plant. I don't remember the last time we had anything like this. It could be at independence time. So these are mega projects that are transformational in nature. And then our last speaker made reference to the green transition. And that is also a very key position that we find in the 2026 budget. Now, I will go a little bit onto the panel because it is exciting to see, as Bernard said, and I recognize them to be in 3 parts, just like the theme. I see members who are coming here from academia. I still see practitioners. And then you see also development partners. I know most of the people coming here. And together, you're going to have no less than 150 years of experience sitting right up here. I'm not sure we can assemble such a very clean, good panel. I'm sure they will do very good justice to the 2026 budget with regards to the fiscal discipline, allocative efficiency, and operational efficiency of the budget. And then for the moderator, I don't know where he is. Where is Bernard? Right at the back there. I've admired this gentleman for so many years. And I'm happy we went to the same university and did the same course. So his level of interrogation is deep, is wide, and I know that he will bring the best out of the panelists that we're going to have here. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome from the Ministry of Finance, a heartful feeling from the Finance Minister, and we wish you a very wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ackhurst. Always a pleasure listening to you. So even though we went to the same university, you went there many years before I did, and you clearly took your lessons more seriously than I did, which is why you are there and I'm here. So the moral of the story, if you're studying economics, study it well. Otherwise, you'll be asking questions, and those who studied hard will be answering it. No offense taken at all. We'd like to acknowledge a few people here. This program is the first, as rightly said. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Ishmael Dodu, who is the Director of Innovative Finance at 24-Hour Economy Secretariat. Let's put hands together for him. Thank you, sir. We are very pleased to have Lord Paul Boateng, a member of the House of Lords UK. He likes to remind us he went to Accra Academy, which is the second best school in the Greater Accra region. It's fine. Take it like that. You can't do anything to me. Even though you are a lord, I'm in Ghana, you can't do anything. I've seen a few other important people. I've seen Dr. Alter, who is the IMF country resident rep. Dr. Alter, thank you for being here. A few more people I've seen. I'll get the right designations so I don't run into any error. Before we hear from the GRA director, I'd like to take a few comments from Dr. Dodu. I think by the way, the pre-budget survey, there's a lot of interest in 24-hour economy. A lot of people want to know what's happening to you. So I'm going to give you just 4 minutes to pass a few quick thoughts around your perspectives on the budget and what you're expecting in today's program. So let's welcome Dr. Ishmael Dodu for a quick round of comments. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bernard, and good morning. I'll share a few reflections. I feel very intimidated. Please give me a smile, I beg you. And I see Right Honorable Paul Boateng, who I've admired since I was a child. I went to Accra Academy, and he was an inspiration. Please, let's put our hands together for him. So a few reflections, and I know that the 24-hour economy is really something that rode through the hearts of the government. And since we launched in July 3rd, there have been a lot of conversations. Primarily, the conversations we've had have been really at the level where it should be. We've been talking to industry, we've been talking to SMEs, smallholders, farmers, Makola women, traders associations, academia, development partners, a wide range of partners that really are concerned with the economy that we're trying to construct. And so it's so refreshing that the budget came. And one of I have 4 points, which is really a critical reflection from our heart, and I'd say the heart of the team of the 24-hour economy. And the first one is that the budget seeks to actually put our money where our mouth is, because the 24-hour economy is really the anchor of the budget. The spirit and the essence and the letter of the budget actually truly reflect the vision that we have of the 24-hour economy, which is an economy that is catalyzed for industrialization, export promotion, and job creation. An economy that makes Ghana a very, very robust one, resilient one, that looked at all the factors of production and optimizes it so that we become highly productive to be able to produce the large variety of products possible that could come from Ghana. The made in Ghana products should be so variety in its essence to the extent that if you take cassava, you can have 10 different products out of it, and all of which finding expression not just in Ghana market, in regional market, and international market. And therefore, because of the demand, we will definitely be able to do a round-the-clock economy and run shapes. The other point is the budget seeks to mobilize the private sector in a very, very revolutionary way by providing the incentives to de-risk the investments. If you look at the Grow 24 program that we do have, the investment in the farmer service centers, the investment in the minimal equipment that farmers need to have, the investment in some of the bulk infrastructure, irrigation facilities, so that smallholders will be able to be properly transformed to produce the massive raw materials that industry then needs to take and add value to. And I think this de-risking environment is very clever in the way the budget actually positioned it. The third one is the budget sought to invest in its environmental, social, economic, and development spheres of our economy. So if you deconstruct our economy in really dealing with the structural deformities that our economy have, the budget seems to target investment in a social aspect, in economic aspects, in a development aspect, and environmental aspect, through the green transition approaches, and through the strategic investment in women economic empowerment, targeting Women Bank, for example, and then addressing the issue of inclusivity, no one leave behind aspect, and then positioning the entire economic transformation in a green transition mode. I think this is very, very clever as well. And that opens a lot of opportunities for all types of finance, green bonds, green financing, climate action, carbon credit, and stimulating all types of entrepreneurs' development. So I think that is one thing that is very critical. The fourth aspect is that the budget provides the 24 economic sector the tools to do what we want to do, to build our institution, to mobilize the private sector, to simulate specific financial engineering, to create cheap, patient capital for the SMEs. It enables us to be able to today anchor our SME facility with $500 million that we have been able to negotiate with BIDEA, giving us the incentives to be able to fulfill that conditions for that, and then being able to talk to other sources that help us to create the needed financial capital that SMEs need to have. It also gives us the flexibility to be able to look at SMEs in different ways and accustom or contextualize our support to them so that they will be able to stimulate a type of growth. So the small enterprises will be dealt with in the way that will unleash their potential, the medium enterprises and so on. And be able to work with the AGI in bringing in protocols that would demonstrate that the SMEs actually drive development through impact. And this morning I was having that conversation with the AGI director. So I think the budget really has set the pace for all of us. And it is only saying to us that there's a clarion call for us to just capitalize on this gain and be able to leverage it and grow. So this, I'm very interested in seeing how the panels actually choreograph these aspects that I've talked about. And in choreographing, and I want the panels to be able to end up singing a song that says that Ghana is powerful, is robust, is resilient, and is set to fly. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dodu, for those 4 bullet points summarizing the perspectives of the 24-hour plus for the budget. This is the KPMG Post-Budget Forum, the first for 2026 budget And we're happy to say this is the only organization that has done a pre-budget survey and has found a way of synchronizing that with the budget itself. We're live on ChannelOne television. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, you can put those questions on the number on the television screen. I'd like to acknowledge a few more people. Engineer Ken Ashigbe is here with us. I've forgotten your new role now. Chamber of Mines. Chamber of Mines. I think you're the chief executive. Let's put hands together for Engineer Ken Ashigbe. He was initially Chamber of Telecoms. So it's like we are doing more chambers. We're a chamber man. Amazing stuff. Of course, we have the GRA Commissioner General Anthony Sapon here with us. Let's acknowledge him. Round of applause. Also happy to have the Chief Executive of Telecel, Patricia Obunai. Thank you very much. We have a man who looks like the Dutch ambassador to Ghana. I'm not sure whether you're the same person or are you the president? EU ambassador. You are new in Ghana. You haven't spent more than 3 months. So yeah, EU ambassador. Let's acknowledge him. Round of applause. Thank you very much. You know, if they had told me that I was to call Lord Boateng, I wouldn't have said the thing I said about his school being the second best. They didn't tell me. Now that I've finished committing the blunder, I'm supposed to invite him to come and speak. So please find it in your heart to forgive me. As I welcome Lord Paul Boateng to bring us a few quick remarks. Please put your hands together for Lord Boateng. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, MC. I certainly forgive you your blunder. Accra is not only the best school in the region, it's the best school in Africa. So let's be clear about that. But, you know, I'm also an Arsenal supporter, so you must understand that where my loyalties lie. But, Excellency, sisters and brothers, managing partner, friends all, it's good to be with you here this morning, albeit for a few brief minutes. You know, in our Akan tradition, they don't ask you by way of introduction your title. They don't ask you your occupation, your former occupations. Lord Boateng, former Chief Secretary to the Treasury, High Commissioner to South Africa, all those things. They don't ask you any of those things. They don't even ask you who your mum and dad are. They simply ask you one question. You know what it is. Why are you here? And if you think about it by way of introduction, that's the best possible question to ask. And I'm here simply because I am attending a meeting of the Africa Center for Economic Transformation, founded by K.Y. Amoko, who many of you will remember from the UN Economic Commission for Africa, one of Ghana's foremost economists, and a great think tank doing great work on the continent. And I'm here also as a senior independent non-executive director of the Ghana International Bank, which is the oldest Pan-African bank in the City of London. I'm having a meeting in half an hour with their staff here in Accra. So that's why I'm here, but I am privileged to be with you at KPMG by their invitation from an old friend, Imos Ansa, who I've known since he was, 16, 17. My wife and I are great supporters of him and his family, and he told me you were meeting and asked me to come, so I said I'll be delighted to do so. And while I'm here, just to make a few remarks, not in any way to comment on the budget you have just had in Ghana, and certainly not to comment on the budget we are going to have in a few days' time in the United Kingdom. I have learnt as a former Chief Secretary to the Treasury that it's best not to comment on the activities of the finance ministers who have followed you. So I won't be saying anything about that. But I do want to make one or two remarks about the challenges that we face globally today in terms of the global economy. These are challenging times, in many ways unprecedented times. The tectonic plates of the international financial system, of the international trading system are changing. things are not going to be the same again. And we delude ourselves if we believe that there is going to be any return to what was. There's no going back. The world is going to continue to be an uncertain place, a dangerous place in many ways, but also and importantly, at a time in which there is policy uncertainty globally, that there's no doubt about that, at a time in which there is increased trade tension, no doubt about that either, and real risks, not least from persistent inflation and subdued foreign direct investment. Those two risks are here and have to be managed. But they are also, and importantly, in my view, real opportunities. The threats that I have outlined to developing economies are real, but they are also opportunities for developing economies. And for Africa, the most important opportunity is to wean ourselves off this debilitating dependency on overseas aid. We really have got to do that. I am old enough, and by the look of it, one of the oldest people in this room. You are celebrating the 60th anniversary of the CD. I remember going with my father to the launch of the CD. I was present as a small boy opposite the military hospital, waving a flag when Kwame Nkrumah and Princess Marina passed by in order to go and to make the Declaration of Independence. So I've been around. And I remember a time in which the GDP of the Gold Coast, Ghana, was greater than the GDP of Malaysia. So, and you know where we are now. So that would suggest that we really have got to rethink our economic model. And we have got to foster increasing self-reliance. We have got also to recognize the importance of reform, the reform of infrastructure, and a focus on infrastructural development. The importance of developing our human capital, not least of our youth, and of enhancing the capacity and quality of our institutions. That's an absolute imperative. And in doing that, we have to draw upon the skills that exist in Ghana, the real skills, the skills that exist in Africa and the wider diaspora. And we have also to recognize that, the WTO is going through a period of real crisis. And that's not going to change anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be building in Africa on our own potential to develop our own initiative around the Africa Free Trade Area. It's absolutely central. Rather than wringing our hands about international and global trade, we need to look at continental trade and what we can do in order to bring down the barriers to trade within Africa and to improve intra-African trade. And for me, that means going beyond rhetoric to reality. It means policy reform so that the experience, there was reference earlier on to the Marcola market woman. I judge the success of the intra-African free trade area on what is the experience of that woman who is carrying produce on her head, who is carrying produce on her back, who is in the vehicle bringing her goods to market from one country to the other. What is her experience when she crosses a border? What's her experience when she crosses the border between Ghana and Togo, between Ghana and Abidjan? How is she treated? Is she harassed? Is she subject to corruption? Is she and her supply chain subject to tariffs that don't actually have any justification? So it's all about implementation. We have got the plans in Africa. The plans are there. They're in a very high quality. The question is implementation. That is the challenge. And you know, I will just say this, that you know, when it comes to implementation, we have got to recognize the importance of actually going beyond rhetoric. You know, when I was at school, we talked a lot about, too much rhetorics. Our headmaster, Kunwa, used to say, don't forget the school motto, esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem to be. We've actually got to live our solutions. It means that the private sector, and I salute KPMG for the work they're doing in that, the private sector and the public sector have to be able to work effectively together. We have to tackle these issues of procurement. We've got to remove the obstacles to doing business. We've got to unlock the natural enterprise that exists within our people. And the role of government, whether in the UK or in Ghana, the role of government is to be an enabler. Government can't do everything. What government can do is to create an enabling environment. So I wish the government of Ghana, I wish my government in the UK well as they wrestle with the challenges of these times. But you know, the answer ultimately lies not in governments. The answer lies in people, lies in you all, lies in your businesses, your sense of enterprise, your sense too of collective responsibility for nation building. And that applies whether we are in Ghana or in the UK. And the one final thing I will say to you, as I said when I addressed the Africa Caucus of the IMF and the World Bank in Abuja last year, is that we need to put the youth and the youth demographic at the center of our policy making. Because Ghana's youth, Africa's youth, are the future. The future not only for Africa, and don't forget we have the fastest growing youth population in the world. We are the youngest continent as well as the oldest continent. The oldest continent geologically, the youngest continent in terms of demographic. We have to put them at the heart of our policy making. And that means making sure that we don't just build their capacity, but that we provide them with employment and we encourage and support their own efforts for employment going forward. And that older men and women are prepared to make way for younger men and women and to join with them across the generations in delivering on the dream that our foremothers and our forefathers had for this continent. And that means opening ourselves up to the possibilities of AI. It means recognizing the importance of blockchain technology. I do hope that features in the course of your deliberations today, because that's the future. And sometimes we as older men and women wrestle with that. But believe you me, AI and blockchain are going to change our world. And Africa has to be at the heart and at the forefront of that. So I wish you well. I thank you for all you are doing. And there was a phrase that I learnt when I was British High Commissioner to South Africa. I learnt it from the Zulu and the Xhosa people. And it's a simple word, but it means everything. And that word is vikuzenzele. Vikuzenzele. If there are any South Africans in the room, they will recognize that word. But you know what it means? It means this: get up, get out there, and just do it. Get up, get out there, and just do it. Vikuzenzele. Thank you very much.
Wow. Get up, get out, and get it done. That was the Venerable Lord Paul Boateng. A round of applause for him one more time. Wow. This is the UNDP KPMG Post-Budget Forum on the theme Resetting for Growth, Jobs and Economic Transformation. We've just been inspired by a man who was there and who's still here with so many fascinating talking points. Great time of flux, but great opportunity. He also mentions the need to focus away just from plans into implementation. And this is what we're doing here today as well. And I want to assure him, we'll definitely talk about blockchain technology, AI, and the rest of those newfangled ideas. We'd like to have our final speech. Then we do the panel discussion. I'd like to acknowledge before we do that a few more people. So from the World Bank, we have Juan Mendelez and his team from the World Bank. Where's Juan Mendelez? Yes, sir. Thank you. Kwabena Jan Kwachi is from that team as well. Kwabena, good to have you. Put your hands together for them. And we're also very happy to have the head of the delegation of EU, Rune Skinnebach. That's the name, right? Thank you, sir, for being here. The team lead from the EU is Timothy Dolan. Timothy Dolan. Thank you, Timothy, for being here as well. And from the NDPC, the chief analyst, Michael Kusi Apia from NDPC. Where is he? Give us a wave. Thank you very much indeed. We'd like to now bring up a man we know very well in this room who's now taking the very important job of Commissioner General, GRA. Let's welcome Anthony Sapong to bring some quick remarks as the guest speaker, actually. Guest speaker, Anthony Sapong. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I think let me stand on the existing protocol so that we can save some time. And as we talk about technology, I decided that I will not come here with my the usual files you see as in those of us in public sector. So, Arkes, who presented the minister, thank you very much. I didn't bring a file, so I'm following your lead. Yes. Let me also thank KPMG and UNDP for organizing this forum and giving us the opportunity to discuss the 2026 budget. It's important that these engagements are made so that the message is carried through all of us, so that we can all get up, go out there, and just do it. Yes. So you notice that the budget is anchored on the theme Resetting for Growth, Jobs, and Economic Transformation. And this is actually a lever of His Excellency, the President's vision of overall resetting the nation. And therefore, within this context, you will notice that the budget outlines a number of measures that will influence revenue mobilization, that will drive investment in various infrastructure, that will propel growth, lead to job creation, and also there are certain key areas that are also covering social protection. Those are very, very fundamental key pillars that you see in the budget. And because the minister's rep has already spoken about some of these areas, and being a tax man, let me first focus on some of the key areas relating to taxation. And then towards the end, I'll bring all the other elements together. So first, in terms of the area of revenue mobilization, and Honorable Boatin just mentioned that it is about time we just do it and we in ourselves mobilize from within. So domestic revenue mobilization, if we are going to get out there and do all the nice initiatives that have been cataloged in the budget, is going to anchor on making sure that we drive growth and improvement in our domestic revenue mobilization. And that anchors the very transformation that we are looking for. Without the revenue, we will not be able to build our schools, we will not be able to build hospitals, and will not be able to provide all the essential social services. And that's where, from where I stand, I come in within the bigger umbrella of revenue mobilization. GRA's mandate is actually the tax component, which is also actually a significant component of domestic revenue mobilization. So you will see that in this particular budget, and also in the 2025 budget, government policy has been very deliberate to take steps to use tax policy to create the environment for business to grow, reduce costs, and create the opportunities. So I'll take a moment to explain some of these reforms which have been announced by the minister as far as tax revenue is concerned. So the first is the major reforms that has been announced respect to VAT. So VAT, as we all know, is a consumption tax. And the more we consume, the more we pay, the more we generate revenue. So today, if you look at Ghana's population, we are at a point where we are consuming. And as we continue to join God to procreate, we expect that the population will grow. And therefore, if the population is going to grow, we are going to eat more food, we are going to drink more, we are going to use more cars. So consumption is set to grow. And therefore, VAT, from our perspective, is a major tax type that we need to make sure that it's working and it's working for us. And if it works and actually get the way that we want, it will generate actually the needed domestic revenue that we are looking for. So part of the reforms is both structural, process, and technology-driven. So the first thing that government has proposed is, one, to lift the threshold of VAT registration from 200,000 to 750,000 Ghana cedis in respect of goods. So this actually takes away the burden of small, micro, and individual enterprises that actually struggle to be able to keep their books as far as VAT is concerned. So we are lifting this away and say, focus on your business, deliver selling. When you go above the threshold, we'll come and collect our taxes. But until you get there, just focus on your business and do. So this is a big relief. We believe that is going to support our micro enterprises to be able to focus on their businesses and do what they do best. So you have these businesses employing 5, 10, 15 people. This is about ensuring that they are focusing to grow. They are focusing on job creation. The second one is the elimination of the cascading effect. So today, the VAT that we have, you will notice that we have the levies, which is 1% COVID levy. You have the 2.5% GET fund. You have 2.5% National Health Insurance levy. Now, before you charge the VAT of 15%, you apply or you charge the VAT of 50% on these levies. So which means that you are paying tax on levies that you are paying to government. The implication is that it is a cost to business. But the worst of it was that the 6%, which was the COVID levy and the GET fund and NHIS, were not deductible. So we were actually adding 6% costs to businesses. Government policy, we are saying we are going away from that. So no cascading. Number 2, you can claim the full benefit as input tax, NHIS, and the GET fund. And the next one is COVID is gone forever. So this is actually liberating the space for businesses. Your cost is going to go down. The 6% cost will go off, and therefore it allows profit to rise, all things being equal. And then, of course, overall, when you look at all of this together, the effective rate today of 21.9% reduces to what? 20%. So again, some people have said this is too small, but I challenge them. And I say that it's not too small. It's the beginning of a good work. So that 2%, which previously you can't use for consumption, is going to go back into people's pocket and wallets. And that will flow through consumption, and that will generate the expansion that we need in businesses, that will generate the expansion that we need in taxes. So please, we have reduced it, so spend more, consume more, businesses will grow, and we'll get more taxes. Yes. And then, of course, that's my the area for my brother. We've been struggling with it in terms of the VAT on exploration. We are talking about people coming to invest in the area of minerals and other extractive industries. And the key challenge has always been there's a VAT when you have to explore to find the minerals. In this reform, the VAT for exploration has been affirmed. That is no longer going to be there. So again, it's the government way of saying, bring in the investment, come and explore, find the minerals, and let's grow and explore together. Because when these are turned into reality, they of course will create the jobs that we are looking for. So in all, you notice that we're using the VAT as a key driver, the reforms, to actually create space for businesses to grow, creates opportunities to have jobs, and also as a way of transforming, because once the VAT is reformed and we generate more money, government can spend on the infrastructure projects that are outlined in the budget. Of course, the minister also talked about the fact that we are not going to stop at VAT. So in the course of 2026, we're also going to look at major reforms on the Revenue Administration and the Customs Act. Because if you look at our 3 areas of taxation in Ghana, it's VAT, it's customs, and income taxes. So 2026, we've started with the major reforms on the VAT, which we're working on with Parliament. We believe that if things goes well, Parliament will approve this. If they approve this before they rise for Christmas, then we are set to actually implement from January. And in the course of 2026, the minister will then again, under his leadership, will work on the other tax laws, which is the income tax and customs, so that in totality, we are looking at the overall reforms of the tax policies to enhance business growth and create jobs. But for 2026, again, we're looking at partially in terms of the process of the customs area. One of the major challenges we have in this country is what we call the classification and valuation of custom goods. I think the importers here, the agents here, and those who work in the border areas, you understand these terms very, very well. So classification deals with if somebody is bringing rice, are they bringing full pieces of rice or broken rice? And sometimes they are full pieces of rice and they will describe it as broken rice. If it's broken rice, you pay a lower duty, of course. So these are the issues with classification. And then it then moves into valuation. So depending upon the classification, it drives valuation. But the other components that we also don't see is country of origin. Depending upon where the goods are coming from, you get duty differential. But the worst of it, or which I also speak about, is tampering with manifest. When a ship has sailed and says, I'm carrying a 40-footer container of rice, it gets to Ghana, and somehow on the high seas is ginseng powder, which customs is seeing. So this is one area we want to revolutionize with AI. So we are going to introduce an AI automation That will mimic the very work of assessing, classification, and evaluation by our officers. So let me assure my officers, the human beings are not going to go away. They are not going to go anywhere. But the AI is going to work side by side with the human beings. The beauty is that the AI will determine the duty of the product in less than 10 minutes by the time you feed it with the data. And today it takes about 30 to 1 hour for my officers to do that. So before my officers come out with the result, the AI results is standing there and waiting. And we are just checking. We've done the proof of concept of this AI. It's promising. The samples that we did showed an upside of duty values by 40 to 45%. Clap, I think. So when this works, it means that our revenue from customs is just going to go up. It will increase domestic revenue mobilization, but not so. It also gives government opportunity to rationalize. Because today the importers are saying it's too high. But if all of us are paying correctly, and there's parity, let me quote the Gutta president, that is his word, parity, if he's listening. Joseph, Dr. Joseph, I'm quoting you here. So there's parity, it affords government to rationalize, and as we go forward, bring down some of the costs at the import. So it's not just about focusing on increasing the revenue, but also going to drive changes and reforms in the customs area. Then, of course, the minister also talked about the fact that there's an abuse of the import declaration form. That's also customs area. So we did a 5-year study, and we realized that within the 5-year study, over 45 billion USD has been moved out of the country. And when you go into it, not more than about 7 billion were genuinely connected with trade. So what happened to the rest of the money? So people go in, fill IDF forms, which shows intent to import. And therefore, they take it to the bank. The bank will transfer money as an advance for the import. The goods do not come back. The monies do not come back. So we are going to, again, invest in another technology called advanced cargo information, which is blockchain embedded. So if you apply for IDF, or the goods are coming, the blockchain will tide it. In 3 months, we'll share the information with the banking system. So we'll be able to tell whether when you send the money out, the goods came or not. And we'll definitely will come after those that are wanting in that area. So these two areas, we believe that the technologies we are going to employ will actually, one, help us to improve revenue, help us to rationalize the duties, and most importantly, ensure that genuine transfers that go out of this country are the genuine ones. So you notice that as a prelude to that, 2 major initiatives have already been introduced, which is announced by the Central Bank of Ghana before this budget. One, so when you are traveling and you are carrying up to 10,000 USD equivalent freely, you don't need to tell anybody. If you are carrying more than between 10,000 and 50,000, you are required to declare it. You don't need to tell us where you got it, but you are required to declare it or to state that you are carrying above 10,000 up to 50,000. If it is above 50,000, you are required to declare it and state the source and the purpose why you are carrying above 50,000, why you're going to use it for. Otherwise, channel it through the banking system. And we are introducing, again, technology at the point. So don't think that you are just going to say, I'm carrying, I'm not carrying. The scanners are coming. So currencies you are carrying to show, the scanners are going to tell us. So it's not that you are going to talk to the custom officers and say that I'm carrying 10,000 when you are carrying over 50. The scanners will show the evidence. So it's important that we understand these things. And these measures, again, will help us to tame the flow of Forex and allow the normal systems to run. And then, of course, the other one, which has been introduced in conjunction with other securities agencies, the multi-command center at the airport. So today, we have all the manifests of everybody traveling. So when you are going in and when you are coming out. So when the customs officers stop you, it's not random. You have risk profile you. You know the number of bags you took away. You know the number of bags you are coming with. So that will tell us, okay, you went with 1 bag, you are coming with 10 bags. Are you carrying dutiable goods or not? Did you carry more than money that you didn't declare? So that is at the moment working. So if you buy your ticket 24 hours before you fly, we get to know. And when you are coming and you check in online, we get to know you are going to fly. And we know the bags that are. So this is open, don't be afraid. So it's working right at the airport. So we are using these AI tools and technology as data point and insight to drive revenue mobilization and to manage government policy. So it's important that these things have taken place and they are working. But also importantly in the VAT area, since 2028, we have what we call the Fiscal Electronic Devices Act. So it's supposed to be the technology arm to help us implement VAT. Unfortunately, we've not done it. 2026, we are going to get up, go out there, and just do it. So the third implementation is on its way. We've already done some work on it. By Q1 of 2026, the selection process would have taken place and want to go live by Q2 of 2026. So all retailers, you are going to sell through a Fed technology. So those of you who travel to Dubai, you get to the shop, and whatever you are buying, you buy through the IPOS or the Fed. That's how it happens. And when you are coming back to Ghana and you want to claim your VAT, you get to the airport, you show your passport, and all your purchases are there. So this is the way we are going. So that once you purchase, GRA knows what you have purchased, the shops. So at the end of the month, you are not coming to tell us you didn't make any sales. We will know. And then we'll do. The second phase is really to intervene. So as soon as the consumer pays, you take your money, GRA takes its VAT. So this is the way we are going with technology. We are also at the moment piloting what we call a digital economy tool, because online businesses are growing. And we have businesses outside the country who are selling a lot into this country, but you don't get the benefit of the VAT. So today we are working with Bank of Ghana and the financial intermediation, and we are piloting a tool. So at the point of payment, so let's say you order something on Amazon. At the point of payment, that technology will intervene, take the taxes that is due to Ghana, and allow the money that is due to Amazon to go. So again, this is revolutionary, and all of these measures are going to help us improve. So you see that government action is really not to introduce new taxes. Government action is to create efficiencies in the way we employ the existing taxes. And that way, we believe that we can generate a lot of revenue to support the agenda of government. And the last one before I move on, it's important for me to mention as I stand here, is a modified taxation scheme. So a number of times we have said that the informal sector is huge in Ghana, but contribution to tax is low. So we have introduced what we launched it about 2 weeks ago, the modified taxation scheme. If your income is not above $500,000, you qualify to be in this scheme for individuals and sole proprietor businesses. You pay a flat rate of 3%, and that's all the income tax you pay. So let's take, for example, if you are earning 25,000 Ghana cedis the whole year, then all the tax you pay is 750. Is this not affordable? Can't Ghanaians do this? If you are earning 25 and your contribution to national development is 750 Ghana cedis, this is something that we should all jump up to and do it. If you are earning 200,000, all you pay is 6,000 Ghana cedis. 6,000 Ghana cedis. So let me appeal to all our informal sector operators, artisans, the creatives, and everybody who is doing business out there. This is the tax for you. This is an opportunity to contribute to national development. Earn $500,000 or below, pay 3%, and that's all that we are asking from you. And we've also made it simpler. You register through an app, so you don't need to move from where you are. On your smartphone, you register. On your smartphone, you can pay with Momo, through bank account, any other channel. and immediately also get your receipt. If you are going any place, they ask for your tax clearance certificates on the same app, you can show it. So for our informal sector, this is the tax for you to contribute to national development. So we'll be doing more education on it and want to encourage all of you to support us to make sure, because our estimate is that if this works, within the next 3 years, we should be generating about 40 billion Ghana cedis through the modified taxation scheme alone. And that is significant for revenue mobilization. So having talked a lot more about taxation, let me just reference back in terms of within the overall context. So you see that within the budget, in terms of preparedness to grow and to transform, and as Director Ake said, government has prioritized key major infrastructure projects. And we believe that all of us, those in government, in private sector, we must work together to make sure that we implement and it happens. The investment in the power plant is transformation. The Accra-Kumasi Expressway is transformational. The investment in oil palm, transformational. If the oil palm succeeds, we are significantly diversifying forex sources. We are not only going to depend on gold, cocoa, and other non-traditional, but palm is going to be a variation. And you know how the world works. Commodity prices can change all the time. Today, we are enjoying all the high rising in gold. Tomorrow, gold goes down. Cocoa and palm should be able to stand for us. So this is visionary under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and anchored by the hard-working Ato Forcing, who is actually forcing. But all of these are going to be possible if you pay that your 750 Ghana cedis on your 25 income, or you pay your 6,000 on your 200 income, because we need money to finance this project. They are not just visionary. They will lead to growth. So if you have stable power, if you create the opportunities in oil, palm, and expressway, they lead to businesses and growth. And of course, once they are growing, jobs will be created, incomes will be uplifted, and totality of it all will lead to transformation. So ladies and gentlemen, let me now try to read what is before me. So the private sector, of course, will continue to remain an engine of growth, and GRA will continue to strengthen partnership with businesses, tax professionals, and civil society. We want to be collecting the tax smiling. So voluntary compliance is the way to go. So for us as GRA, within the context of growth, job creation, and transformation, we are targeting 2026 as a year of compliance. Let us voluntarily comply so that we can build Ghana together. As I am saying, not to shock you, in conclusion, a modern revenue system must be fair and trusted. GR is committed to transparent enforcement, predictable processes, and respect the taxpayer. The expected operationalization of the Independent Tax Appeal Board, which I didn't mention. So the Independent Tax Appeals Board has been on a drawing board for 5 years. I'm happy to announce that under the leadership of the Minister of Finance, working with GRA, the regulations for Independent Appeals Board has been passed. So today, if you have dispute with GRA, all of us need not go and wait at the court for 3, 4, 5 years. Government is not getting the money. You are not getting your tax matter resolved. And if you are not lucky and the judge gives the ruling to GRA, the interest is waiting. We will collect it. So Independent Appeals Board regulations has been passed, and we're working with them to operationalize it. So again, we are investing in the staff development, ethics, and digital skills to ensure that GRA, as we relate with the business community, we reflect the sense of professionalism and integrity. The 2026 national budget represents a pivotal moment in Ghana's economic journey. It challenges us to reset growth, to reset jobs, and to reset for transformation. So we stand ready to support this agenda as GRA with discipline, with innovation, and investment in our people, and investment in the right technologies. As citizens or a taxpayer, and I just want to emphasize it, your duty, 1, is to know the taxes you must pay, 2, dutifully pay the taxes, and 3, let us build Ghana together. Let's move forward, let's strengthen our systems, uphold fairness, and build an economy that offers opportunity for every Ghanaian and resident. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. Anthony Sapong is the acting, can you applaud him one more time? Commissioner General.